Oh, hi. I jumped it all up again. About every 2 years, I get to the point when I'm just like, I'm done with you hair, and I chop off all my long hair, and we go short again. I haven't gone as short as I have done in the past, so I've tried to be a bit more restrained, and just we got some little fringy bits going on. It's all new, but it's all fun. How are you guys? I hope you are doing really, really, really well. Today's video is just going to be all the things that I personally think you should consider before you go freelance. Now, obviously, I'm going to be coming at this from a professional musician perspective, but if you are going freelance in some other industry, do keep watching because some of these tips and thoughts and tricks will absolutely be relevant to you. If you are new to my channel, then please do hit that little subscribe button. It would be so good to have you. Many of you will already know this, but my background is basically I have been a freelance professional musician for coming up to 6 years now, which is terrifying, and I hadn't actually realised it was that long until I literally just said it then. I studied at music college and then I went freelance basically straight out of the gate, which was, an interesting decision, but it's worked out pretty well so far. First point is sort of starting with a little bit of a hard truth, but it has to be said, and it's to just give yourself a little bit of a reality check of what you are going into. If you're not super passionate about the career that you're pursuing as a freelancer, then this is going to be very, very difficult for you. I can't really sugarcoat that. You need to acknowledge and be prepared for all the different roles that you're going to be taking on. You're going to be your own boss, which is dreamy, but we'll get into that later. You're going to have to be an accountant. You're going to have to be a manager. You are your own HR department, the whole shebang. You need to know all the roles that you're going to be taking on and acknowledge them and think them through and the repercussions of all of those. Are you prepared to take on those hats before you go freelance? Hiring an accountant is super great and super nice, but also super expensive. So particularly at the start, I would not recommend that you get an accountant straight away. You need to know what you have coming in, what you have going out. You need to understand yourself as a business before you hand those reins on to somebody else. You also have to register with HMRC. Even if you are not yet earning over the taxable threshold, I'll have the HMRC website linked below so you can go check out all that info if you want. But you have to register with them straight away, okay? It is the law, you have to do it. Which leads me on to your tax returns. You're gonna have to fill that bad boy out. Like I said, you can ask an accountant to do that for you, and a lot of people do. But like I said, I would not recommend you do this for the first couple of years or so at least, just so that you know what you've got going on. Also, think about the non-negotiables in your life. Think about the responsibilities, commitments, and personal absolute non-negotiables that build up the picture of your personal lifestyle. The obvious ones are family commitments and financial responsibilities. You've still got to pay your rent. You've still got to pay your mortgage. Have you got kids to look after? Do you have a school run pickup that you need to be making every day? In many ways, going freelance can absolutely enhance these things because you set your hours. You are your own boss. But bear in mind that different industries will have different kind of working times. For example, I'm a musician. We work a lot in the evenings. And that means that I have to be really, really careful of how much I take on in that sphere because my husband works a 9 to 5. I have to make sure it's my responsibility that I'm not taking on so much that we never see each other. You also have to really get disciplined. There is nobody around telling you what to do, which is the absolute dream, let's face it. But seriously think about the implications of that. You are the person that is going to have to get yourself out of bed every day. You are the person that is actually going to have to sit down and get that work done. There is nobody stood over your shoulder. So if you don't have the self-discipline to get that work done, then you're in for an upward battle. But one of the absolute best things about going freelance is that you set your schedule. So if you're somebody that works better later in the day, then work later in the day. That is totally fine. Have your chill out time in the morning and then get on with stuff. Whatever works for you, that's great. You have to be able to set a schedule and really, really stick to it, because if you don't have any kind of schedule, if you're not setting yourself any kind of timetable, you'll find that things just don't get done. Something that I find really, really helpful is to try not to do all of your work from home. Obviously, at the moment, this is a little bit different, but we're talking after pandemic, big picture stuff here. I like to reward myself for doing tasks that I personally find kind of scary or a bit difficult by going out to my favourite coffee shop, getting myself a nice drink and tackling those things. For example, for me, it's emailing fixes. I find that really draining, really hard work, kind of scary. You're putting yourself out there. You need to make sure that you're putting in all the relevant information correctly. It's all a bit of a minefield. So I will schedule a couple of hours, I will go get myself coffee, maybe even treat myself to a nice lunch and get those things done there. It kind of balances out the whole scary big task with nice coffee shop. It also gives you a change of scene and a different environment, and never underestimate the power of that. Another great thing that can help you with discipline is to meet with other freelancers and work together in the same space, especially if they are in a different field to you. It can be so great just to hear about what other people are getting up to, what they're finding really helpful, useful, what they're doing to help themselves, all that kind of stuff. You can so easily just get in your own little bubble as a freelancer and kind of forget that there's other people out there. So meet with other people, bounce some creative ideas off each other, and you will find it so much easier to really knuckle down and get that work done. Once you've really got that discipline down pat, then you need to be really getting organized. Now that you are your own boss, it's time to set up things like business bank accounts. Have a separate bank account, which is all of your business ingoings, outgoings, all the expenses, all that jazz. It will make filling out that pesky little tax return so much easier if you just have it all in the same space. It also makes it really, really easy to keep track of how much you are actually making every month. Keeping a monthly spreadsheet with my ingoings and my outgoings was one of the best decisions I ever made when it came to keeping track of my finances and keeping everything organized. Some people like to use software such as QuickBooks for that kind of thing, but I'm an old-fashioned girl and I like to use just a Google spreadsheet. I know how it works, I know how to input everything. I'm a little bit more in control of that information, which personally just suits me better. Speaking of templates, create yourself a contract template and an invoice template that you can just copy and then fill in with the relevant information. You will save yourself hours, and it will also mean that everything looks really uniform and polished and professional. These templates do not have to be fancy. They don't have to have loads of different boxes everywhere and all the information. No, keep it clean, keep it simple, keep it neat. Then, when you've worked for a particular company more than once, they will see that you have this consistency throughout the invoices or whatever that you're sending them, and that can just look really, really great because it shows that you're organized, it shows that you're on top of things, and it shows that you're keeping track of what you're doing. Being a freelancer can so quickly turn into all work and no play, so find yourself a hobby. So many people get into freelancing because they have turned their hobby into their job effectively. Which is awesome, let's not take away from that fact, but it can lead to just complete creative burnout. So find yourself an alternative hobby that is something totally different than your actual job. Now, I've mentioned before that this YouTube channel started as a bit of a hobby for me, but I now consider this work because it's talking about all things to do with my job. However, I then started a second YouTube channel because I really enjoy the process. And that's just all about makeup and skincare and beauty and all of those things. I will have it linked up here. I will also have it linked below. Shameless plug. But that channel brings me so much joy and I find it very easy and I don't find that hard work at all. So for me, that was just a really, really easy segue, kind of using things that I already enjoy and I'm starting to build up experience in, but turning it into a little creative side project. Setting goals and knowing where you want your freelance career to go can be absolutely game-changing. I know people always bang on about setting goals, make sure you're achieving them, all that kind of stuff, but there's a reason. It works. Setting your sights on where you want to be focuses you. It will tell you who you need to be talking to, who to network with, and where to put your energies. Otherwise, you can find yourself really, really busy, but kind of doing stuff that you're not really that interested in. So set your goals, work towards them. Acknowledge that it may take you a little while to get there, but you will get there if you continue working towards them and you keep your eyes set on that goal. When it comes to setting said goals, then think about your strengths and then think about the things that you need to improve on. So for example, for me, my strength is sight reading, orchestral playing in that environment. But my big weakness is performing in a solo capacity. I get very tense, I get very nervous, and it's just not a good time. But in order to achieve the goal of playing in these orchestras and one day getting a job with an orchestra, I need to work on that particular weakness, because it is that skill, basically playing solo in an audition, that is going to get me the job that is actually my strength. So it's a little bit frustrating, but here we are. Knowing your worth is also so important as a freelancer. I've done a video all about whether you should work for free, and again, I'll have that linked up here and also in the description bar. But businesses often try and take advantage of freelancers. They will try and get you to work for exposure, or they'll hook you in with, if this goes well, then we'll absolutely work together in the future. If a business doesn't value your skill set, your talent, your creativeness, your freelancing awesomeness, they're not worthy of having you work for them. Don't be afraid to send a polite email just saying that you don't work for free for any business, because then you will come off as polite and professional and you will maintain your dignity. Don't slag them off to everybody you know. Don't send them an email telling them how outraged you are. Keep it professional, keep it calm, keep it polite, and then you will often find that they'll come back with a better offer because they'll want to work with a professional such as yourself. A myth that I so often hear is that you can't be a freelancer and also have a part-time job, and this is just totally not true. You don't have to go straight in, straight off the bat, and in fact, I would advise that you don't do that. Maybe you can go part-time with your current job and then do your freelancing on the other days, and then maybe you can offset that balance as you go. But having a job on the side will just mean that you have that little bit of extra stability as you are establishing yourself as a freelancer, because that takes time. There is no other way around it. It takes time to network with people, to get your name out there, to get your first clients, to get those good reviews. All that kind of stuff takes time, and having that little bit of support and that stability can often then give you the freedom to go out there and really set your freelancing off on the best possible track. And then finally, when you become self-employed, perseverance is key. You can't rely on anybody else to get you through those tough spots. So don't despair, and use the times when you're not working to better yourself and better your business. But also, and arguably most important, look after yourself. When every moment of every day can be an opportunity to be working, to be earning money, to be furthering your career, it can be so easy to start just neglecting yourself. So remember to take breaks. Go outside, meet up with some friends, read a book, watch a little bit of TV. Remember that if you don't take rest, your body will force you to take that rest, and trust me, it will choose to force you to take that rest at the most inconvenient time ever. I sadly often find myself working with musicians who are just completely burnt out by the whole thing, and they don't love what they do anymore because it has become totally all-consuming. Remember that you are more than your job, and your job works for you, not the other way around. Remember, you chose to go freelancing for a reason, and I'm willing to bet that reason was not to work every single second of your life until the day you die. I really hope that was useful. I hope you have gained some encouragement, but also maybe a few little things to have a good hard think about. But if you have enjoyed this video, please do like it, do subscribe to my channel for more content from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great week. Bye bye. I'm talking too fast. I need to calm down. I just get very excited about this subject. If in doubt, reapply your lipstick.